Hi, my name is Megan Easterlin, and I was assigned to read pages 216 to 223. The focus of these pages were centered around the growth and history of art education in the United States. Starting with the 18th century, art education was more industry driven, so like industry design. An admiration for European concepts and standards led to a development in art education in the United States. A development that brought more arts into like public schools and like art being taught to kids more. It was being taught to it was being taught by non-specialists. In my reading, I learned about a few radical thinking teaching artists. Those teaching artists are Victor D'Amico, I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name, and Florence Kane. Their philosophies were pretty similar, but they were also saying how they were different. If I can remember correctly, Florence Kane believed in painting from your imagination, and also painting with your non-dominant hand. I wish I knew how to say his name, but I'm just gonna try my best. D'Amico's ideology was centered around learning art by making art, and that the child is an artist, but yet different from the adult. Following a worldwide depression in 1933, the WPA, which stands for Works Progress Administration. I forgot to mention that the WPA was a program that helped unemployed artists at the time do federal projects. I knew about the WPA before because I had to do a report on Augusta Savage, who also worked with the WPA, and I thought that was pretty interesting. One issue with the WPA would be maybe censorship because it is a government program. So, according to the reading, after World War One, a lot of service people fled to college campuses, which led for flourishment of art, music, and drama departments. So I misspoke when I said World War One. I meant to say World War Two, and it was because of the GI Bill that more people were able to go to college. Artists in Residence was created in the 1930s to promote music education, but later visual art as well. In the 1950s and 60s, inclusion was one of the main focus points. Old House offered art history and studio art courses, as well as cultural services to help immigrants assimilate and ease their cultural transition. In 1965, the NEA was created. It stands for National Endowment of the Arts. It offered support and funding to artistic projects, much like the WPA and I think it's CETA, also offered to help fund for artistic projects. The NEA, however, is responsible for creating the Artists in Schools program. Once this program came about, from my reading, what I understood, tension between art specialists and teaching artists was created and began. This tension was created by art educators. They felt that the teaching artists were a cheap way to replace real art learning programs in full-time. It says they would come in, stir things up that aren't supportive by what's already going on in the school, and they would leave. And so that's coming from art specialists are a full-time art teacher, and the argument of the teaching artist was that a lot of the things that were being implemented at the school was old-fashioned, and the art specialists are unable or unwilling to engage students ambitiously and creatively. In 2006, because teaching artists weren't getting paid as much and weren't receiving the same benefits, there was a strike, which did lead to an improvement of wages and benefits for teaching artists. And yep, that's what I got from my reading. Again, my name's Megan Easterling. Before I entered this course, I knew nothing about teaching artists. Like, I didn't know there was a difference between an art teacher and then the teaching artist. Like what was the main difference? Like, if you guys are both teaching art, what is the difference? Yeah, and in this course, I didn't directly know that there was a such thing called cooperative learning. It's like cooperative learning is like you eat an apple, but you don't know what it's called, but you had an apple before. Whereas for me, in my development as a child in school, cooperative learning was more implemented in my classes. I think it really would have helped me to like grow and be more outgoing, because I am a pretty shy person. So it would have helped me like be like more confident. The last thing that I learned from this course is the difference between cooperative and collaborative learning. The teacher, which was my art teacher in high school, what I remember just from my classes that I took with her, we worked very like individual. Like, we would do some stuff to like together, and she would show us how to do things, but for the most part we worked like by ourselves or whatever, and we didn't really get up and walk around. I mean, we were able to talk to each other, but it wasn't like enforced, like bounce ideas from each other, like, you know, it was just kind of like it just kind of happened. But yeah, with talking with her, she told me that she did try to use cooperative learning, but later I learned that it was more of a collaborative type of thing, and there is a difference. Both focus on peer interaction and promoting social skills in a group setting. However, cooperative learning is mostly teacher structured. Like, the teacher defines like the purpose and the goal that is trying to be reached in the work process. And in cooperative learning, is equal work, but it's based on individual strengths of each student. Whereas collaborative learning is everyone works together. It's more you're bouncing off ideas, and you know, like, you're all doing the same thing. My biggest takeaway from this course was learning about nonviolent communication, because it helps in all aspects of your life, and how to talk to people and communicate with people in a nonviolent way that's not harmful to them and their character. That's very important.